You just mentioned the purchasing. It's been said that in automotive industry, people are talking about global sourcing. Well, 70% they refers to China sourcing. Is that true?
Maybe. It's a kind of like the fad today, and but also China. The first time I came to China was 1985. There was a little bit of difference between 1985 and today.
That's very sensitive.
Huh?
Sensitive year, 1985. Not so open as this time.
Not open at all.
Oh, okay.
And but it was very, very interesting. But almost everything that we saw were oxen in the field, and you know, I was in Guangzhou. Is that the way you say it?
Yes, that's right.
And so we were in a place called the China Hotel. I think it must have had 40,000 rooms. I don't know for sure. It's a big hotel. And so we finished our business and had an extra half a day before we had to go catch the airplane. So we went to the hotel and said, do you have some guy that speaks English that could drive us around out in the country? And so the guy says, yeah. He says, we got an old Mercedes-Benz out here, and this guy speaks very good English. And so he came and got the car, and he brought us. We got in, and he says, where you guys like to go?
He speaks English.
He spoke very good English.
Okay.
So we said, we just want to take a drive out in the country and see China. Oh, he said, then I'll take you to my hometown. And so it's some little hometown, very small village. And so we stopped there, and it has maybe 2 blocks of Main Street. And my friend and I get out, and we start walking down the 2 blocks of Main Street. In about 2 minutes, there's maybe 50, 60 little kids around us, walking with us. Little Chinese kids.
They're very strange.
And so
Curious.
we asked this guy, he said, what's this all about? And the guy says, he smiles and he says, you're the first white people these people have ever seen in their lives.
Yes.
Not only that one guy is 6'5" tall. They've never seen anybody that tall. So they were very curious, but very friendly.
Yes, very hospitality.
Very hospitality, yeah,
That's
big
right.
time. But also on that trip, we went down this 4-lane road. And at a point, that road stopped. And they were cutting in a mountain a roadway. And it looked like ants. There was tens of thousands of Chinese carrying these rocks down in baskets on their back.
You were shocked.
Yeah, I was.
You never see that before?
No, I've never seen that before. Not even in picture. And so it was fascinating because it was already almost finished. And so all these people were working like that. And so, interesting. And then we stopped along the way. And because there's an oxen out along the road. And there was a farmer in the field with another oxen plowing the ground. So we stopped and we looked at this ox along the road, and then we took out a camera and took a picture. And this farmer come running across the field screaming at us. So we jumped in the car and took off, and we said, what was that about? Oh, he says, some people believe that if you take this oxen's picture, you steal its soul.
Yes.
And so so
my grandmother believed that. She never took a picture.
Interesting.
Yeah. But 22 years passed. So you can see that a lot of changes has been happened here.
Yeah. Now I see lots of changes every time I come.
How many times you come to China every year?
I don't know. Sometimes I've come to China several times a year. Other times, maybe once a year. I was here last October, and prior to that with Delphi, I was here several times. So many times.
But if you stay in Shanghai, maybe similar to New York.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, it's kind of show city.
You don't know if somebody, if you didn't know where you were and you're in Shanghai and you look around, it could be anywhere.
Yes, yes.
Very modern city.
Yeah, but if you get more involved in the Greater China, I mean, maybe Guangzhou, maybe Beijing, maybe Changchun, Wuhan, a lot of automotive center. If you go there, it's much more interesting than you ever expected.
Yeah.
Especially in those industry, a lot of global buyers, they set up very high China sourcing targets, and then send a lot of people here.
So,
Yeah.
my first international job, I was still at TRW. And I became the head purchasing guy for TRW Automotive
Steven
Worldwide.
Shao. Steven. I mean the guy. You.
No, I'm talking about myself.
Okay.
So, I get a promotion and I go to TRW headquarters. And so, I'm in charge of purchasing for TRW Automotive Worldwide.
Worldwide.
We had plants in 22 countries, and we made all kinds of steering gears and chassis parts and airbags and safety belts and things like that. And so my job then in 1985 was to go find good sources anywhere in the world.
For low-cost countries.
Well, we never called them that then, but
That's
that
the
was
living cost.
that was the idea. And so I came to Asia, and typically I would be here 6 weeks and hit 8 countries and look for suppliers. And so one time I'm here and I bump into this guy from Ford. And he was a very interesting guy. He talked all the time. You could never get a word in edgewise. And his name was Rudy Salvetti. And he was one of McNamara's whiz kids. And my boss also was one of McNamara's whiz kids. And they hadn't seen each other for 30 years. So I brought him with me once, and they got to see each other for the first time in 30 years.
They never met before.
Well, they worked together at Ford. When McNamara was president, and he got these super geniuses together. And both of these guys were super geniuses. And so, anyway, while I was there, this Rudy Salvetti says, "Oh, you're going around Asia looking for suppliers." I said, "Yeah." He says, "I know every supplier." He says, "I have a big team, and we know everybody." He said, "You just ask. You're a big supplier to Ford. You just ask, and I'll give you the best suppliers."
List.
And I did. And so he saved me a whole lot of work in every country here in Asia, because he knew which ones was the best. And so we started buying from these companies. And
from their reference.
From their reference. Because they bought from those countries.
Yeah, of course.